Welcome back to Wells Fargo Friday on Valley Life. And you see the sign right there, Stone Soup Fresno. So I'd love to tell you I'm going to teach you how to make soup, but actually we're going to take soup to a whole nother level with these two beautiful ladies to my sides right here. Miss Sandy Cha, how are you?
Good. How are you, Rich?
Good. And Miss Mikey Yang, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Well, really nice to meet you because I have stories or questions to ask about some stories. Stone Soup, it's an unusual name. Give me a little background to Stone Soup and where it all came from.
Well, Stone Soup is actually based on the folktale, and most of our work is based on the philosophy of sharing with others what you have and building a better community. I'd love to give you a tour.
Well, let's keep walking and talking. So how did then the folklore come into this beautiful facility here by Fresno State?
Well, it started in the 80s and 90s when we had an influx of Southeast Asian refugees coming to Fresno. And so our former founder, Kathy Garabed, really saw the need to help these families acculturate to this new way of life.
All right.
And so that's why she took the philosophy, asked community members, church members, university professors, anyone who was willing to share their talent of reading to kids, doing after-school arts, karate, and it was really to keep kids out of negative activities.
So every little piece of the soup, we're all throwing it together to make it that much better.
Right, yes, exactly, and that's where, that value of volunteers and community members really come in to help and support our work. So
Mike, it's one thing to try to develop programs, for people to help out. It's a whole other thing to create a community center like this. And actually, let's step in a little farther. That way Don can kind of get a feel for this entire room. But how did this whole thing come about, and then how is it really helping out the community, in so many different ways?
Well, back when, as I was telling you, when Stone Soup started, it was to really strengthen families so that they would be self-sustaining. Okay. And so that means, building positive engagement with children and families and parents. And so the one example is one of our focus is early education, and we really believe that children can learn at a young age, and that comes with a lot of, nourishment and praise and support. So we have programs for children ages 0 to 5. We have a play group that's for parents and their children to learn together. And learning through play is a valuable lesson for our parents who come from a place where formal education was not necessarily an option. Okay. So for this program, we call it the Early Learning Program. It's for kids 4 to 5 years old to prepare for success in kindergarten. That means learning your numbers, your colors, your letters, knowing how to get in line so that they'll be successful in kindergarten. And we offer opportunities for parents to get involved into the program. So they volunteer at stations to help kids. They volunteer on field trips or community events where they come together.
Right. Well, Sandy, in the years that I've gotten to know you, you pride yourself on teaching people how to be financially self-sufficient. You like just creating that learning process and help someone better themselves. What drew you to Stone Soup to say that's something I'm getting involved in?
Well, Rich, I couldn't imagine this community without Stone Soup. Stone Soup is such a special gem and such a special asset to our community, not just to this neighborhood in the Bulldog Lane area, but to the entire community. As many people know, Stone Soup serves Southeast Asian families, but not just Southeast Asian families. They serve a lot of the families, and it's so diverse here in this neighborhood. So they've got parents and children of all racial backgrounds coming here to the center. And I get the privilege of working with the older kids, the youth group, to teach them hands-on banking, and that's the Wells Fargo Financial Literacy Program. Sure. So I spent a summer here with a group of young girls in high school who live here in this community, right here in this neighborhood, and they would come after school every day during the summer to spend time with the mentors, and I got to be a part of mentoring them and teaching them hands-on banking, talking to them about budgeting, the importance of managing their credit, being cognizant about these things. As they pursue college, they will be offered so many things, and so how do you make the right choices? And so it was such a privilege to work with these girls and see them go off to college. Many of them are at Fresno State right now. Some of them are at Fresno City College. So it was just such a privilege for me to work with them. Right.
Well, Mike, it's one thing to have financial support, which Wells Fargo is always good for in our community. But when you have people like Sandy that say, you know what, I got time, expertise, and knowledge, I can jump in and help people, that makes it all the much better because those dollars go so much further.
Yes, definitely. And we call, everyone, our partner, like Wells Fargo, is an ingredient in the soup that we are doing is building a stronger community. And so I think volunteers foundations, groups like Sandy, Wells Fargo, who support Stone Soup. They're not only supporting us, but they're actually supporting building strong families and young people who are going to be our future leaders, who are going to be contributing citizens in our community, and that's a big deal for us.
Right. And before we run out of time on this segment, like you said, it's about starting early. The earlier, the better. When everyone realizes there's a strong community behind them, then they're more apt to be involved with it and not just try to make themselves a separate part of the community.
Right. Yeah, and then the earlier we start, it's really building positive outcomes for children. And so, like, for example, in this program, we teach math. And kids are learning to use their fingers to count and how to add. And that's really exciting because parents are like, wow, we didn't know our kids could do math. They could already learn to add when they're like 4 years old. And that's exciting because that's, building that support for parents and children to learn together.
Sure. All right, well, you ladies don't go anywhere. I got more questions for you. And you folks don't go anywhere either. We're going to be right back with more Wells Fargo Friday right here on Valley Live.